Hello, Rebel Unicorns. I am so excited to pop I didn't know what to call it today. Answers with Avalon was what came through. I know that if you have a new name for previously Tea with Tamara, Answers with Avalon feels really resonant because I would love to answer questions that you guys have about energy and vibrational frequency and chakras and wealth inheritance and rituals and practices, crystals, whatever it is. So I think it'd be really fun to get some questions from you guys, which I will put in a different post, and then we can do answers from Avalon as a fun little name. And I really wanted to talk about something because I think it's really an important piece to understand about energy and the human body and resistance because we all have a preset idea of what is the world's expectations, limitations, parameters, what we can grow into, what we can experience, what we can have in our lives. And it's a really interesting place to be because we receive this information from outside of us. Like it becomes like the message that our parents give us, the message that their parents gave to them, the messages we receive from government, the messages we receive from marketing, all of these messages coming in tell us what is available to us and how much we can make in our businesses, how much we can experience in our lives, how we can show up. Like it really does set this. The parameter is the only word that I can think of using right now. We create these parameters within our very existence of what is the limitation in which we can expand up into. And so we set these parameters and then we live within them. So it may be that one of the parameters I was given as a kid was if you don't go to school, you'll never make money. Like if you do not get a high school or a post-secondary education, then you will be struggling for the rest of your life. So there is this parameter. This is just an idea. This is just to give you a sample of what an outside source is because we become fixed in our parameters by the time we are 7 years old. Boop, that's a 7. 7. I don't know which way is better. But we create the boundary in which we exist in for the rest of our lives unless we do something about it by the time we are 7 fucking years old. 7? 100% 7. Right? And so that is because we do not have a conscious brain that has logic and reasoning that stops information from flowing into our subconscious. So our subconscious is just a pool of receiving until the age of 7, where we at least can receive information and say, ooh, I'm going to reject this. This doesn't make sense for me. Oop, this doesn't, you know what I mean? But that doesn't begin until 7. So up until 7, we are just simply an open vessel of believing whatever is being taught to us, whatever we are seeing through the people in our lives living. If they are talking about other people or they're sharing their opinions, you are absorbing it at all, and this becomes your parameter, right? And it's like an energetic field that you create for yourself, that you live within the realm of whatever it is that you believe. And you're not here to do that, by the way, because if you're in Rebel Unicorns, you know that that's not true. Like that there's more outside of that parameter. But the problem is that we have these preconceived patterns and these programs and these beliefs that were instilled into us that still have a remarkable grip and hold on our ability in order to step out of it. If we're talking about it from a neurological standpoint, because God knows I fucking love the body and the brain. I've been studying the human body for over fucking 2 decades in some form. Whether it was the skeletal, whether it was hormonal, whether it was energetic, your human body has been my life's work. And so when we're talking about it from the neurological sense, it's like if you were to take something and groove it over and over and over again, it creates like a big dent, right? Like a big pattern. Like water, if it were going down the hill, why would it choose a different path when it has this grooved out path with no obstructions that it can just simply find its way to the destination, which is you stay exactly where you are. in the comfort zone, in what you know, right? And that's the same thing with your neurons in your brain, right? That's the same thing. It's a path that is so grooved in that it just keeps going to the same patterns and processes over and over and over again. Even when you are saying, I know this pattern is not good for me. I know this pattern isn't good for me, but you find yourself repeating the pattern, right? Because it's a neurological response system. It's a subconscious response system that is just so embedded into your being in your body that you just keep finding yourself getting to the same level over and over again, right? And every time you get to this parameter of what is unknown, because anything that is unknown to the body, you are going to go into freak out fucking mode. Your ego is going to get involved. And not only is the ego going to get involved, but the external world is going to reflect the basis of the vibrational fear that you have at you. And I'm going to give you an example of this. So like you may think to yourself, I'm going to do something. I'm going to hire a coach. I'm going to join this program. I'm going to launch a program. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to, start a podcast. I'm going to do something significant. And the minute you make that decision, the body thinks it's going to help you, right? This fear, this vibrational frequency, because everything operates on frequency and vibration. Whether you want to believe that or not, it's just the foundational access point of every single thing in this world. And so you can consciously say, I'm going to do this. But within you is still this fear or this pattern or this program that was given to you before you were the age of 7. And it is a vibration that says, if you do this, XYZ will happen. Right? And I always say that our emotions, which is energy and motion, creates, like unruly teenagers, this response system. Like I always say, if you leave the teenagers in the house having a party, that's what your emotions are doing in your body. And that's why you can feel the resistance within your body. It could be nausea. It could be, I think of the commercial for Pepto-Bismol. Diarrhea, nausea, whatever. I never know the words for anything, but I always want to sing them anyway. Upset, tummy, diarrhea, nausea. I didn't even get it right anyway, right? But whenever you get to this parameter, so you believe that there exists inside this world a way for you to be a millionaire. And a lot of people have had this dream. I want to make $1 million in my business. Raise your hand if you're one of those people, because I am absolutely one of those people. I know that I'm meant to make $1 million in my business, serving my community, my collective, my soul family, and supporting them and making $1 million in their businesses. And then, you know what I mean? To break this generational trauma that says that we cannot make $1 million in our business. Every single human on this earth has the same capacity to bring in $1 million as everybody else. And I'm going to give it to you in this understanding that we all have the same access to the same level of oxygen. Right? You are all breathing right now and you have the same level of oxygen available to you. You can say yes to that, right? You can all raise your hand and say, yeah, I can breathe in oxygen here. And Rachel is in this live because she is made, right? And so Rachel can breathe in this oxygen, and we can understand the concept that we all have the same level and the same access to oxygen as each other. But when I bring it up in the same terms as we all have the same access at the same level to money as we do air, all of a sudden those preconceived programming that you have received since you were a little child start to tell you all the reasons why that is not true. Even though your brain's like, yeah, wait, but I see that concept, right? I can breathe in air, you can breathe in air. It's an unlimited supply of air. We are all breathing. And we can say yes. The minute I say air and money are the same, you go whoosh, automatically deflect into the same neurological processes, the same hormonal responses, the same emotional processes, the same thing that you witnessed and you received as a child. Okay? Now, we are like, great. So I believe that, money is as available to me as air. Now what? The part that is the work isn't that the money is the easy part, you guys. The money is the easy part. I was just having this conversation with somebody. What is difficult is breaking down the belief systems in the body. And it's not even difficult, it just takes awareness, it takes the willingness, it takes choosing to experience resistance and do the thing you're resisting. That's how we break a pattern that we've had for a really, 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 like sometimes 40, 50 years, right? Is that you have to be willing, because you're going to get to this parameter where, you know, you're going and this is known. Yeah, I'm comfortable. This is known. I got this. Yeah. I'm here. And then something is going to challenge what you know. Whether it is financial, whether it is external, whether it is, you know, somebody saying something to you, whether it is whatever, there's going to be a contrast or a tension that occurs, right? And your brain won't be able to acknowledge whatever is on the other side of that. Because when the brain doesn't know, when it cannot paint a mental picture, how is it going to inform you that what you're doing is the best thing for you? It doesn't have that information. You can't pull it up in an access file. It's no longer stored in data, right? And so your brain thinks it's doing you a favor. Your body thinks it's doing you a favor by basically putting an alarm system on this parameter that says abort mission, abort mission, abort mission, abort mission, abort mission. First, it's going to happen viscerally. So you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the resistance, whether it is you get a panic attack, whether it's nausea, whether you get emotional, whatever the form of the resistance is going to first and foremost try and stop you with your human body. Because that is what the ego can communicate with. The ego uses your body to get your attention, right? The ego and the body are like in partnership. They're like, we can make sure she's safe all the time. Look at us. We can create all these things and keep her safe, right? But your subconscious wants to connect with the source of all things. It wants to connect with the understanding that there's limitless possibility, that you have within you all the universe right now. You are unlimited. You are like the most powerful creator and creation in this world. And your subconscious knows that. But the ego utilizes the body as a means to distract you, to tell you this isn't true, right? So you get to the perimeter line, all of the alarm bells go off, your body starts to have all these sensations and feelings. You go, whew, this is clearly the wrong decision if I'm having a panic attack, if I'm getting nauseous, if I'm getting emotional, whatever, right? So we have the belief now that the body is trying to say, stop it. This is not right for you, which is actually the polar opposite of what is real. The realness is the emotional response in the body of resistance is actually supporting you in understanding the very thing that's going to shift you or expand you into the next level of whatever it is that you are taking in, whatever it is that you are going to express into the world, whatever it is that is your service and mission, whatever it is that is, you know what I mean? And it's that level where we start to get the resistance, that we understand resistance is the flashlight shining the path on what is next. Nobody ever teaches that to you. They say resistance. Oh, you know, you should absolutely. But the thing is like the way that I've defined resistance in the past is like you can go out of your house, get in your car to drive to a destination. And when resistance is driving the car, you will go in a circle around the block and you will pull back into your driveway and you will never leave your house, right? Because resistance has got the wheel. And so you will do the same thing, like drive the same route, look at the same building, see the same scene over and over and over again. Resistance will never not be with you. We've got to make friends with the resistance. Resistance is like my best friend. I fucking love resistance. Every time I feel extreme resistance, I do that thing. Even when everything and everyone in my life is screaming, what are you doing? And why are you doing that? Because I'm like, ooh, resistance is showing me that this is a powerful indicator that this is going to take me to the next level of my service, take me to the next level of my impact, take me to the next level of wealth, take me to the next level of intimacy, whatever it is. So when you take resistance with you and you become the driver, then you are behind the wheel. You are behind the wheel and resistance is in the passenger seat. And so when you go to get to the same four-way stop and you always turn left and you're like, today I'm going to go straight. And resistance is going to look at you from the passenger side and go like, what if you get lost? What if you can't get back home? What if, and you're going to look at resistance and you're going to be like, yeah, man, we might go on a scenic journey. We might make a wrong turn. We might get a little lost. We might, lose our luggage. We might, all these things are true. And I want to know what the view is up there. I want to see what is available if I go straight through this stop sign. So we have this internal thing that's happening. So that is the level in which we physically have a response system that says abort mission when resistance comes into play, because we don't know what is on the other side of everything that we've ever been taught or everything that we've ever been experiencing, right? Now comes the other piece of this. When you are vibrating at the level of that fear, the seed of fear that has been instilled within you, it does send out a vibrational frequency that if you're not listening to your physical body, what can happen in the external world that will assist you in stopping, right? So you are here, your dream, whether it's financial, whether it's freedom, whether it's impact, whatever it is here, right? And we're going to make it a big giant heart. And you'll notice this, right? You'll make a decision to do something. You'll have the resistance in your body. If you can beat that resistance and be like, this is the most valuable thing that I will ever be able to do in the history of my life, I'm doing it. Then comes an external reaction. Something happens in the outside world and it says, are you sure? Are you sure? And this is simply a vibrational frequency within you that you're emitting that says, I don't know if I'm sure. So the response in the external world will give you something where you will say, yes, I am still sure. This is where I want to go. This is my place. This is where I know that I'm going to be of service, of value, of support. This is where I'm going to be financially free. This is where I'm going to be able to give back to the community. This is where I know that people all over the world are going to read my book and have massive shifts and all that. You say, all right, you make it through that one, right? Then comes one where it's bigger. Are you sure that this is where you want to be going and this is the destination? So you get through the physical resistance. And then the outside world does all of these little fun things. And, at each one, we are doing the work within ourselves to create a new pattern, to create a new program, to create a new belief system. We're basically rewiring our brains with every single external resistance that is formed and showing that what is possible that we were never instructed or taught or experienced when we were little. And so whenever we get these hardships, because here's the thing, the brain is always looking, the body is always looking for a reason to stop. It is literally looking for proof, like, oh, if this happened. And you'll know because it will feel so convincing to you. It will feel so convincing. And when it can convince you, then that it will be able to convince other people. So, something could happen. I used this example when I went to India in January, right? The week and a half before I went to India, my son attempted his life, right? And in that moment, because I knew that there was an expansion. So I'd already had the physical reaction to going to India. Like, I signed up, I wanted to back out. I cried a lot to my coach and I was like, this isn't for because there was something in India that was going to be significant. So I went first through the visceral reaction to India. Right? Abort mission, abort mission, abort mission. Nope, clearly there's something in India. I meant to go there. The next thing was the things that started to happen in the external world to prove to me that I could find the proof that was required not to go, because that was the original thought or feeling. This is too much for me. This is too big for me. What if, and you have to understand that if we all had this unlimited access pass to the universe and everybody knew that we could make money as easily as we could breathe, the world would be a completely different place, right? And so we have been taught, we have been given strict parameters to stay within to keep the world from knowing this information that has been passed down in lineage for years. Anytime somebody started to feel or expand into a place, they were quieted, they were silenced, right? And so the fear is there, and it's genealogical and it's ancestral and it's been passed down. And yet we do have this unlimited capacity and availability open to us. So when I decided to go to India and my visceral physical reaction, I worked through that. Then came the outside, my son attempting his life, my other child going into crisis. And I mean, these things were happening. My second child went into crisis the day I was leaving for India. The day I was leaving for India, right? So here I have these instances that are occurring that if I were to tell people, you know, I was supposed to go to India, but then my son attempted his life, people would go like, oh, I completely understand, right? It's so convincing. It is so real that you will find that at this point you can stop, because that is proof enough for you and it's proof enough for the world, and everyone would agree. Because that's also what limitations we have been taught and we've been told. And I'm just letting that land for a second because it's pretty big, right? And the key here is that you will receive these different instances that will create opportunities for you to rewrite a new experience and a new program. And oftentimes these are actually what become the basis and the foundation for the ease in which this occurs, right? Because once you can prove to yourself that at each of these points you expand and you do the internal work, or you do the internal work to create the space to continue on your path, because this is going to ask a different experience from you at each level, right? Like you will have to be, do, or have something different at each of these in order to continue on the path to this. Because, you know, at every different level of growth, we do more work in ourselves, right? And you think about that first leap that you make when you're standing on the ledge and you're like, I'm going to take this leap, I'm going to take this leap, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And you're so proud, and you should be fucking proud, because taking the blind leap is a big deal. And you're like, I did it. And you free fall and you realize that you are held and nothing bad happens. And it's a powerful moment. But the minute you take the first leap, they just start coming faster. The leaps start coming faster because your ability to respond and shift at each of these different levels changes. And the universe picks up its pace and how quickly it's bringing this to you. Right? Because once you say yes and you begin the process of movement towards your big dream or your goal or whatever, the impact, service, financial freedom, whatever your desire is here, right? As soon as you make that leap, the universe says, sweet, now let me start to bring it towards you at the same time. And so then it just becomes a constant like, yep, thank you, universe. Yep, that was for me, that was for me, that was for me. And you're doing the work and you're moving through it. And this is your artwork for today. So this is what you are programmed to have: a comfort zone. You are programmed to have a parameter. These are the beliefs and the programs that were given to you. And when you decide that they are no longer in service to you, then resistance becomes the greatest indicator of your expansion and growth. And so you become very grateful for resistance. You start to love your resistance. It becomes your best friend. You invite it into every experience that you have, knowing that it's coming anyway, but you take the wheel of where you are going instead of your resistance driving, and you take a path to places that you have never been before, understanding that the pattern in the program will create obstacles that will come into your existence. And then it becomes even more fun because the obstacles are actually the adventures. They're the treasures that help you do the work within yourself to be able to expand even further, to hold more space for more incredible things to come into your being, into your body, so that you become a place of neutrality where nothing is like, causing you to have the triggers and the charges that are the programs and the experiences that you had as a kid. And this is a lot of information. It's a lot of information. So if you have questions, you can put this up in the chat box. But there is just such a beautiful thing. There's such a beautiful realization when we can connect deeply to our resistance and love it so powerfully and know that that resistance is your guiding light. It is your most magical experience. And that when you can begin the process, because eventually the fear goes away. Eventually, when you just continue feeling the fear, getting the resistance, and doing it anyway, that it gets easier and easier and easier and easier. And the resistance and the intensity of the resistance lessens and lessens and lessens and lessens. And then you miss it a little bit because resistance, you were like, oh, I used to get a panic attack every time now I don't get panic attacks anymore, which is great, which is great. But it was so easy. It was so easy for me to see my panic or my anxiety as like, I'm as a blessing, right? It was like, every time I had one, I did whatever I was having that experience over because it was so obvious, right? And then that went away, and now it's different. It's different. It shows up in different ways. So I love you. I think you're magical, and I'm super, super excited I'm going to put like, what questions do you have? And then answers for Avalon on Thursdays. I think that feels pretty good. And if you have a different idea for a name, I'm totally open. This is not like I feel really attached to this at all. You know what I'm saying? All right. I will talk to you guys very, very soon.